Frank, what did we talk about? That's right. No Dawn of the Dead remake in this house. I can't stay mad at you. You're just too damn cute. Alright, fine. We can watch it. But I warn you now. I can't be held responsible.
Hey, Vivian.
Look, I can go backwards.
Let me see. Hey, that's amazing. Hey.
Hey, you. Vivian? Honey, are you okay?
Officials have declared a state of emergency.
Everybody they kill gets up and kills.
Residents are advised to find a safe place and stay there.
I've just been informed that we are going off the air and switching to the emergency broadcasting system.
Look up the road, there's a lot more of them. Why are they coming here?
Maybe they're coming for us.
Sooner or later, they're gonna get in here.
Our baby's here before.
It's only a matter of time.
It's coming.
They'll find a way in.
Oh, God.
Are you happy now, Frank? Are you happy that you saw that? Let's forget for a moment that this is a remake of probably one of the greatest horror films of all time. And that's regarded by several horror fans. And let's just take a look at this thing as if it's its own independent movie. Now, I'm a fan of zombie movies, so I'm okay with remakes of zombie movies, especially one like Dawn of the Dead, which had a very basic plot. Now, this movie does that. It brings in the basic movie plot. But it also brings in a lot of its own things. Things that don't work. For example, the cast blossoms from 4 people to, I think at count, 16? They also have an excuse to leave the mall rather than just fight for it. And you just don't have any character development. You don't know who these people are. You don't care. Why should you? It'd be easy to blame this all on the director Zack Snyder, who, in my opinion, is jerking off Quentin Tarantino with one hand and shaking the camera with the other. Maybe because of one or the other. But I can't put this all on his shoulders. The movie isn't horribly directed. It does lack vision, and fortunately he seems to surround himself by terrible people. I think the real blame needs to go to the writer of this film. If I remember right, it's James Gunn. Please correct me if I'm wrong on that one. I'm sure there's probably multiple rewrites as well. The movie starts off okay. We have a pretty interesting character who is pretty stupid, and the scenes are written pretty, well, stupid. And we meet Vin Rames, and it's great. I have no problem with how this movie begins. It's really kind of goes off rails, though, when the truck shows up. A literal truckload of people show up at one point in this movie, and that pads are cast out by double. Several of them are knocked off early, several of them are relegated to background scenes. One of them is relegated to just a sex scene in a montage. It's unnecessary, and you know they're only there for cannon fodder. And this can be said of a lot of modern horror films, where they just create characters to die. We don't need to see that. As a horror fan, Frank, as a horror fan, you know what I mean. We want to see characters we care about. We want to feel something when they die. We don't want them to die. We want tension. We want scares. And you get that with great characters that we can relate to, that are written well, and that are deep. This movie goes in a completely opposite direction. And on the same page as the writing, we have plot holes galore. Moments that just don't add up, that seem like they're missing something. And in the end, it feels like the script was just written solely piece by piece, months over months, forgotten about, come back to, erased on the whiteboard. Ideas shoved down people's throats. Take, for example, my favorite moment. When the generator goes out, everybody's like, oh my god, the generator's out. We can't live in this mall without power. So, what do? They go down to the parking garage where the generator is to reboot it, fuel it up with gas. Cool. Sounds like a good idea. However, when they get down there, shit literally hits the fan and zombies overwhelm them. And my favorite zombie of the whole movie is the one that actually is crawling along the pipes on the ceiling and jumps down on them. I'm not sure how we got up there, though. So anyways, as the scene goes on, shit happens, they make it back into the mall, and they don't have their power. Oh, boo is who. So, what do? They live a little bit longer, they have some candlelight dinners, cool, okay. But then somebody else dies, and God forbid, we can't stay in a mall with no power and people dying. Although, there are millions of them dying outside. So, they go back down into the same parking garage they were earlier, where several people did die, and create super awesome battle vehicles to drive away in. They even mention that the parking garage is the same place that has the generator and the tour buses. So how come they don't get overwhelmed by zombies when they're building these things? Hell, they're making more noise than they have this entire movie combined when they build these things. That's just one of many plot holes, and one of many problems I have with the movie. You know what? I understand it's a remake and you have to bring in your own ideas, but why couldn't they have the biker gang or a militia group attack the mall? That seems like a pretty good reason to leave the mall to me, rather than somebody died. Because guess what? Almost everybody dies when they leave the mall. That added up to a really good plan, guys. Smart move. Oh, and let's go to an uninhabited island, which actually is inhabited with zombies. So guess what? This movie probably concluded with everybody dying. So I'm sorry that somebody died in the mall, but you get your shit together. You live. It's the apocalypse. Well, Frank, are you happy now? We just watched probably one of the worst horror remakes I've ever seen, and probably one of my least favorite movies of all time. Alright, let's go watch the original, eh? It's gonna be a lot better than this piece of shit.